everyone, how's it going? Welcome back. So I want to talk about Daryl Dixon Season 2, and I want to talk about some of the new teaser images that we did get for Season 2. A bunch of new reviews came out today, and I would say at first a lot of them were more mixed. I saw very positive reviews and then some negative reviews, but there was only 5 or 6 reviews out at that time, and then as the day went on, it seems like everything is way more positive, with some reviews actually saying that it's like an all-time high for The Walking Dead in general. I just did a video breaking down the early reviews and whatnot, so if you are interested in that, I posted that video just before that. It's already out. And this one here, I want to break down the new teaser images because we got a bunch of them here for The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 2. So I want to break down everything here shot for shot and then sort of connect it with some of the stuff that we did learn today from the early review. So before going further, make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. Now, the first shot that we see here is of Lo Sang, and this is at the nest. I believe this is likely from the first episode of the season. He has a different outfit on here though. I think his first outfit that he's wearing in the very opening minutes of the season is more red. So I'm guessing there's an outfit change at some point in that first episode. The one thing that we learned about the nest actually is that there's supposed to be some sort of, I guess, battle that happens where Madame Janae actually finds the nest, and it's apparently very Game of Thrones-like in terms of how the battle plays out. Like, it doesn't feel like The Walking Dead with, you know, zombies and like guns and all of that. Like, it's definitely a very different battle where it does feel way more like Game of Thrones. And so I'm really interested in that. I mean, you look at this shot here, just the building in the background, because it's sort of like a castle and everything. Like, it really does almost look like something out of Game of Thrones as well. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, Daryl Dixon in general, like, the show just looks like something out of Game of Thrones in general because of all the castles and just different scenery, right? Like, it's so different from just like being in the woods and there's zombies and whatnot, right? Another shot here of Ash, and honestly, this shot I'm kind of confused by because it almost just looks like a promotional shot. Like, it literally, he's staring at the camera, and I don't think this is really happening in the episode. Like, maybe this does happen around when they film the episode. I'm sure it's like on the same day, but just the way the shot was done, it doesn't really look like it's a part of a scene of the episode, more of like a character portrait if anything, right? But yeah, very cool shot. And then we got the next one here where we see Isabel, and I think this is at the nest as well. So this is probably later on in episode 1. Again, I think the first 2 episodes, we're going to see a lot of that play out where the nest is going to try to figure out what to do next because a few people have gone missing, and so Daryl wants to go and find them. The nest is just like, well, we'll wait and see what we should do. You know, like, we shouldn't go out there right away because we could get a lot of people killed, this and that, but Daryl definitely does disagree with that, and so they're left in that place where they're wondering what they should do, and I do think that Daryl and a few others will eventually go out there to go find Madame Janae and try to rescue the others. They will, but maybe it does lead Madame Janae and the others back to the nest, right? Like, that could be one of the issues with that, right? Like, maybe Lo Sang afterwards just like, see, I told you. And Daryl maybe is just like, well, you know, at least we saved them, right? And then so, yeah, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of issues here, I know, between Daryl and Lo Sang, and it's going to get to the point where it looks like Lo Sang is more of a villain as well, which is very interesting, and I do like that aspect to it. And that's a part of the negative reviews. I've seen a couple of the reviews saying that that's sort of what they saw negative about the season, was the fact that there's no clear villain, or at least, like, you know that Madame Janae is the villain, but they make it so that, you know, it looks like Lo Sang is also the villain. I really like that aspect to it, and I think that maybe, you know, I guess some of the reviewers didn't like that. Like, they want things to be more, you know, very obvious. Like that person's the villain, but this person's the hero. But for me, it makes sense that Daryl's like, well, let's go to the nest. And honestly, I always assumed throughout season 1 that, like, yeah, the nest was supposed to be this amazing place, but I always felt like once we got there, we would see something different. Like, I always wondered how Daryl would respond to the nest and whatnot, like, once they got there, because we don't know what is expected of Laurent once they get there. And obviously, we're starting to see a lot of that there because Daryl is wanting to train Laurent to be able to fight against walkers. Lo Sang doesn't want that. So it's, you know, there's all these issues coming up here. What they focus on is more of the extremes of both sides. Like, they both, like Lo Sang and Madame Janae, both heavily believe in what they believe in. And so one side could either be, you know, very good, depending on your point of view, or the other side could be, I guess, very good as well, right? Depending on your point of view. And so what is a villain necessarily? I mean, I think in general, we can probably see that Madame Janae, like, what she wants to do overall with, like, variant walkers or super walkers is a little more dangerous. So she will seem like the villain ultimately, but I think they are going to try and make us sympathize with her a little bit. But obviously, this isn't a redemption arc, and the reviews made that pretty clear. This this isn't a redemption arc. You know, they are going to be making her the villain. And so, yeah, I think that's smart because I think for Daryl, he's his own person. Norman Reedus, I think, even talked about that. Like, he doesn't really follow that. Like, just because one side seems better, he's not going to just follow along with whatever they say. Like, he thinks on his own. He's his own person. And so, yes, maybe he's helping the nest out, but if he disagrees with something, he's going to disagree with them overall, right? And so I think that was something that they explored here this season. So a lot of people, I think, had issues with it. I don't really think of that as really that big of an issue. So I think that's one of the things for this season, that when it comes to the negative reviews, you know, really look at why they're saying that the show was bad. Because to me, at least some of the reviews anyways, mentioned this one part to it, which for me, like, I really don't see that as an issue at all. Then we have this really cool shot here of Daryl, which is a brand new shot. Just, yeah, very cool. Another shot here of Daryl, and at this point, it looks like he's at the nest, and this is probably later on. I'm assuming from like episode 3 or 4, just because he has wounds on his face and stuff. So I think it is from later on. It's not from episode 1 because he doesn't have that on his face in episode 1. This is after he encounters Madame Genet and whatnot, or I guess after that battle happens. And so it's somewhere around there, but again, I don't know when this is going to be taking place. Maybe episode 3 or 4, but somewhere around there. And then we have Sylvie here, and this is from the first episode of the season here, and I think her concern right now is over everyone else. And Sylvie, I think, is supposed to get a lot more of the spotlight. I heard that a lot of the other side characters are going to be getting a little bit more of the spotlight compared to Isabel and Laurent, who apparently get less of the spotlight this season. So I guess we'll see more of Sylvie, although the reviews were highlighting characters more like Madame Genet and Caudron, who are going to get more of the spotlight. But I imagine Sylvie will still get more of an overall character arc here, because in season 1, she was just sort of there. She was a part of the group, but they never really went into her backstory or anything like that too much. So I think that in season 2 here, they probably will. Another shot here of Sylvie, and it looks like she is investigating and looking around at what is going on at the nest here, and obviously is very suspicious of Lo Sang, it seems like. And I do think that that's going to be something that does happen this season as well, is that Lo Sang is somewhat working with Madame Genet. I think there's going to be some sort of deal made or something to hand over Daryl. Like, there's going to be something that happens here. I think that's probably how Madame Genet is going to find out that, you know, I guess where the nest is. I don't know. Something's off anyways. I really don't trust Lo Sang, just based off of all the teasers and all that. It seems like there's a lot more here, and everyone's questioning everything. And yeah, Daryl's definitely in trouble staying at the nest. Another cool shot of Daryl here. This is when he actually ambushes Madame Genet and her soldiers. Again, I don't know if this is from like later on in episode 1. Probably is, but yeah, very cool scene. We then have this one shot here of Daryl, just a very cool shot. Another one here of Isabelle Falou, and I don't know who the other character is. I'm not sure what's happening here in the scene. Falou has obviously been rescued at this point, because that was a mention in opening minutes, was that Falou and then another character went missing. And so, yeah, really cool to see him here. And then Isabelle, I still feel like she's going to die, and it is very sad, and I'm definitely not wanting it to happen. She's a really incredible character, but it's just going to be one of those things I feel that is just going to happen. I honestly really wanted to see Isabelle and Carol more. Like, I really wanted to see how that dynamic worked. I think that would have been so cool. Like, we literally would have been creating a really cool group here. And again, maybe Isabelle does survive and I'm just overreacting, but just based off of what the early reviews were saying, I just have this feeling that she's likely going to die here, and it's going to be in the first, like, 4 episodes. Another shot here of Ash, and I believe this is when he is in America. And then, yeah, we get this one shot here of Isabelle. This is from the opening minutes here of season 2. And then, yeah, we have another shot here of Isabelle, same thing. Another one here of Daryl. I really like this shot. I just really like the colors in this shot. The green of the grass just looks absolutely incredible here. Just a really awesome shot. This one shot here of Daryl holding whatever rifle that is. Just a really cool shot in general. Laurent, we know this is from the opening minutes. Another shot here of Carol from the opening minutes as well. Right here, this one of Daryl looks really cool. And at this point here, I'm assuming this is when he actually encounters Madame Genet, but it's just very cool because he like unloads the gun and the bullets are just dropping. So I don't know how this happens in the scene, or if this is just sort of a promo shot. I really hope that this actually happens in the episode, because it's very cool. Like, honestly, a really amazing scene to see. And then we get this other shot here of Anna, and it looks like this is at the nightclub that they were at. We know that Daryl and Carol are going to go there to visit. I mean, I don't know why they go there. Obviously, the very specifics of the story there, we don't necessarily know yet, but I will say it is very interesting that Daryl and Carol are away from the nest at this point. They probably can't go back there, right? Like, it must be a place that is just sort of, maybe it's already overrun by superwalkers or Madame Genet, or I have no idea what's going on. But yeah, very cool to see her. And yeah, those are all the new teaser images here. There's a lot more promo out there. I saw a trailer out there also as well that I do want to break down. There's a lot of new footage there. I'm going to leave it here. Definitely post our thoughts down below. I'm excited for the show. 6 more days away. I can't believe it. Honestly, absolutely insane. So yeah, post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.